Hello, and welcome to an introduction to Gabriel. Yours in Ghost is the name of my presentation. It's a sort of a tagline of mine that I use when I sign out of communication online, and it's also the name of my Tumblr blog. And it's there to mean that I'm always kind of around, and I'm always there for you, whether or not I'm physically there for you. So, let's proceed. Gabriel Ruben Graña is my full name. You can call me Gabriel, you can call me Gabriel, you can call me Gabe. Not too keen on Gabby, but if that's your preference, go right ahead. So 4 main things about me that I'm going to talk about today. I'm an educator. I'm a writer. My nickname is Cubanito. And I'm a media aficionado. This is a fun little image that I think is very representative of who I am. It's Gabriel-esque, if you will. It's Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before Christmas typing on a vintage typewriter. This is a typewriter that I purchased recently from an antiques/oddity shop here in Raleigh called The Little Leviathan. It's really cool. If you're ever in the area, you should check it out. Okay. This is a recent picture of me and my beautiful girlfriend, Ashley. She and I have been dating for a little over a year, and I could not be happier. Okay, so a little bit more about my personal life. Recently, Ashley and I went up to Washington, D.C., because my friend Clark got married. Clark and I have been friends since freshman year of high school. So Ashley and I went up to his wedding. And obviously we clean up very nicely here. In the upper left-hand corner, you notice these 3 guys hugging. That's me in the background, Nick, and Mario. Mario and I have been friends since 1st grade. Nick and I have been friends since kindergarten. So this is a very long-standing friendship. And as I mentioned before, Clark and I have been friends since freshman year of high school. So my friendships last a very long time. So if you're my friend, you're my friend forever. Lastly, we've got Gomez here, who is the coolest kitty in the world. Very mellow, always looking for affection, just the right kind of kitty. He also gets really hyper when you give him shoestrings. I'd like to talk about my time as an educator. I taught language arts for 6 years. I started off as a TA at an elementary school in Jacksonville, North Carolina. While there, I heard about a program called Project ACT that sought people who had degrees in disciplines outside of education to bring them into education. So if you had a history degree, they wanted you to become a social studies teacher, etc. So when I interviewed for that program, the interview actually took place at a middle school in Jacksonville called Southwest Middle School. One of the 2 doing the interview was the principal there. I thought nothing of it at the time, but on my way out of the interview, she actually ran up to me and asked me if I wanted to teach there. So I essentially got a job offer as I got into this program that would prepare me to become a teacher. So I thought that was pretty great. And then I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, because Jacksonville was too small for me, not really my scene. And I got a job in Durham, North Carolina, actually, at Lowe's Grove Middle School. I loved my time there. After 5 years there, I decided it was time for grad school, and so I got into the MLIS program at UNCG, and thankfully, I became an A scholar, which gave me this nice scholarship to pursue my studies. Quite rigorous, but I'm loving it. And I actually just recently got a job as a librarian. There's a school in Chapel Hill called Smith Middle School, and they recently hired me on. I'm very excited about that opportunity. So this image here is actually the cast and crew that are working on the new Star Wars film. And I'm a huge sci-fi geek, and I'm going to use this to talk actually about myself as a writer. If you notice, these letters are coming on out of order, and I did that on purpose because it's kind of, reflective of my writing. My writing is disjointed, and it happens on occasion whenever I have time. So things I like to write are poetry, probably my favorite thing to write. Raps, I still write raps. I won't perform them for you right now, but if you're very nice to me, I might. And science fiction and fantasy, hence the Star Wars background. Currently, I'm working on a series of science fiction novels, and of course, that depends on how you define the word currently. Cubanito is my nickname. If you notice here, the image is the island of Cuba. And I actually come from a Cuban family. I was born and raised in Miami, but like most Cubans in Miami, I consider myself Cuban American, let's say. So my family came from Cuba in the 50s and 60s, escaping Fidel Castro's communist government, which they did not agree with. And like most Cubans, they moved to Miami, Florida. So this is a little map of the districts of Miami, Florida. If you notice, there's this fun caption to the side here at an angle. It says, "I don't know what to do with these islands." There's a lot of discussion about the different parts of Miami, but I come from the Saucera, which is basically the southwest part of Miami. Saucera is like a Spanglishization of Southwest. Spanglishization is a very ugly word. Anyway, moving on. A little bit more about myself. Since I'm talking about Miami, let's talk about my family. I am the middle child. If you notice this image on the left, there's a problem with that. This picture was taken before I turned 3 because at 3 years old, my younger brother joined us, Mario, who you notice invading here on the side. So Mario is currently pursuing his master's in landscape architecture, and my older brother David, with the Wolverine shirt on, actually has his PhD in biomedical engineering from Boston University. So we're all very smart, very creative guys. Off to the right in the lower corner is myself holding my godson, Julian. The interesting thing there is that his father is my godfather. So my mom likes to take these shots where she recreates scenes. So I had to carry Julian recently. He is now 15 or 16 or something, and there I am hoisting him up. There was not a chair involved there. I did that all by myself. Thank you very much. And in the upper right-hand corner, it's myself and Mario and some cousins of ours and my godfather there off to the farthest right on your screen, who is unfortunately no longer with us. So I'll talk about myself as a media aficionado. Basically, I love music. I love films and I love to read. My biggest thing is I'm a vinyl record collector. This image here is actually one of the most recent records I purchased. It's called Southsiders by a hip-hop group called Atmosphere. They're out of Minnesota. And what's really cool about Atmosphere and the record label that they're on is that they always produce these vinyls that are very enticing, that really make you want to go out and get vinyl. And what's excellent about them is that they also come with the MP3 download card. So if you prefer to be portable with your music, you can do that as well, while also appreciating the nostalgia and the feel of vinyl, that tactile sense with music, which is what I love. This vinyl, if you notice, is silver. They've also come out with picture discs that have images on either side. They've got etchings in the vinyl sometimes, and they even have these clear vinyls that are really cool. If you're interested, I can show you some of that. So my online presence. You can find me on Twitter, both professionally and personally, and you should be able to click these links here to find both profiles. My Tumblr has some of my poetry and my musings. I'll talk about music I like. I'll talk about movies that I've seen, and I might just go on a rant about something. And I'm on most social media as Gabe Galoshes, which is the nickname that I've acquired through the years. This is a funny picture that Ashley took of me recently, pretending to scream when it says "Quiet, please" at the Lincoln Memorial. So here's a little bit about myself as a librarian, or as I like to call myself, el bibliotecario. Now, bibliotecario is the Spanish word for librarian, of course, but the tech is emphasized because I'm really into technology. So some of my accomplishments as a librarian are, I've co-published an article with Dr. Morris. We talked about some really purposeful and transformative uses of QR codes in School Library Monthly. I'm also interested in school libraries and community college libraries. And I'm really interested sort of connecting these two things together in the SAMR model of technology use. That technology should redefine the learning experience. You don't just give someone an iPad and have them type on it and say you're using technology. That iPad should have a very purposeful, redefining reason behind it. So that's me as a librarian. Here's the images that I've used, and I'd like to thank you very much for your time, and I hope to get to know you guys better as well.